What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sideline to Baseline with your hosts, MB and K. Lou.
Hey, Luke, Luke.
What's up? What's up, man?
What
A
up,
lot
what
of
up,
things
man?
happening. Fresh off the press, Drew Brees hung the
Drew Brees.
cleats up, MB.
What's that thing they be chanting? I like,
I know
man, I'm going to miss that, man. My band. Breeze, man. How about the Saint Nation, man?
CJ or Coach Payton, one of those two told us about it. How it
What
got
that?
started. Remember when we interviewed CJ and Sean Payton came on? He
They
talked
was
to us
telling us
about
about
yeah,
the how that started. I forgot.
yeah,
I know it's military base, but that
right,
was sweet, man. You know,
right.
that was nice. And then I guess what Ray was doing, get those in the house, you know.
Right, right,
That
right.
was what Drew did was sweet. I don't know what he was saying, but it was nice.
So, and I think Sean Payton said the same thing. He didn't know what they were saying.
But it
uh,
sounded nice.
yeah, I think he eventually found out, but he didn't know what they were saying. He thought it was
Right.
sweet. What's
He
going
was
on,
busy.
bro?
He was busy doing his dance, the Sean Payton dance. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I guess, man, when you talk about Drew Brees, you obviously immediately start doing the comparisons. Obviously, he played during the time of what's considered to be the greatest quarterback ever, and Tom Brady. So I guess there's a little bit overshadowing. He also played at the end of Brett Favre's career. Really, he got a substantial amount of time, especially when he was in San Diego while Brett Favre was playing, right? Also, so that name was big. Um, you had help me out, MB.
What's that as far as competition, quarterback wise?
Yeah, that
Oh, I mean, you got Peyton Manning, you got Tom
right,
Brady,
man.
you got Brett Favre. I mean,
That
shoot,
kind of,
even when he up, huh?
and then Aaron Rodgers, even after Brett
Yeah, Aaron
Favre.
Rodgers. I mean, when you play 20 years, man, you're gonna overlap a lot of people, man. So he definitely overlapped a lot of people. And I remember um, when I was just being from Miami, obviously, and he was a free agent in 2006, and he had the shoulder surgery, and it was between. It was almost like, okay, Dante Culpepper and him. Those were two guys, and it's like whoever Miami didn't get, then New Orleans got, you know. And man, it's like, what if, man, if he would have came to the Dolphins, would he had the success? I mean, it was like with him going to New Orleans with Sean Payton, man, it was match made in heaven, you know. But it leads you to wonder because the Dolphins end up getting Dante Culpepper, who's Pro Bowler as well, and end up getting hurt. And then now Drew Brees. So it was always those guys' free agency was kind of tied together, you know.
Yeah, Pac Jam was telling me a story, man, talking about Brian McFadden and Patrick Peterson has a podcast now, and they were speaking of that same thing to Nick Saban. Guess who was the head coach during that time? Nick
Right,
Saban.
Nick Saban. Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
exactly.
spoke about that, and really, that decision is he basically put out there that was huge and having him move on, MB, because he wanted Drew Brees, and they failed him on the physical. And
Wow.
asked Dante Culpepper, and he said he had spoken to Dr. Andrews down there in Alabama, and he said Dante would never be the same, but Drew would be fine.
Right.
So he got that news directly from him, and then in turn, the ownership stepped in basically and made the decision for him. Uh,
Right.
so that was interesting.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, because they tied to the hip in that. But I mean, obviously with Drew, like you didn't even know about it, so people forgot on, and with the success he had at New Orleans, as far as the numbers and the Super Bowl win, and then just being one of the main figures during the whole Hurricane Katrina time, you know. Just
Right.
his work on and off the field, man, is definitely carried a lot of weight over there in Who That Nation, man. You know.
Right. But I guess when I think about those guys that we both, kind of rattled off and put together, he seems to fall back or fall in the back of those
Oh, the
guys.
butcher, about to get him,
No, no,
get
no.
him, butcher.
Well, I'm serious. I mean, when you name, the Brett Favres of the world, that obviously his name carried weight, even when he came back and wasn't half the guy he had been before. His name, we still knew where he was playing and who he's playing every week. So that's what I'm saying. Those names, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they continuously overshadowed him, and he had that year that he shined bright when they won the Super Bowl. But I think he's always going to be that guy that's mentioned after you talk about that group.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about those other guys, I think Drew Brees is probably the Rodney Dangerfield of quarterbacks in that regards. When you talk about those first ballot Hall of Fame guys, I mean, obviously he's got the most completion yard. I mean, most yards passing, over 80,000 yards. He's the only quarterback that has multiple 5,000 plus yards in the season. Nobody has more than one. He's got five. So he just, from that standpoint, it's almost like because of his stature, as far as he's been on the 6 feet, and physically, it's not like, oh, he's got a strong arm. He's like precision. He's like a surgeon. And then also with Sean Payton, it's like for some reason he never got the blown up respect that he deserved. He's been at the altar for MVP of the league. What, he finished runner up like 4 times, a record 4 times, never won it. So yeah, because of all those other stuff, man, I think that puts some second tier behind those guys.
Right.
Uh, because it's not no physical trait like Brett Favre got a strong arm, Peyton Manning doing this, doing that, and Drew Brees just went along about his business, and getting it done, and really came on the map when they won. Really blew up when when they won the Super Bowl with New Orleans, everything that went down with that. But then after that, won Division 4 straight in a row, never won it again. So that type of thing. So I don't know, that's my, if I had to try to figure out why, because he's got the numbers.
Right.
Uh, but why he hasn't been in the same talk, maybe those are the reasons I only thing I can come up with.
I just think those names were too big. He played during the wrong era, if that makes any sense. And I think the names that we named just shined so bright amongst his time that it just was too tough for him to
Yeah,
overcome.
yeah, it
But
could be. It could
but what
definitely
will you remember about him, MV, as a player, his legacy?
I mean, just what you talk, like for me, like saying growing up in Miami, and then the fact that the Dolphins could have had him but didn't have him. That's one. Number two, uh, winning the Super Bowl, right? And then I just got the pictures or in my mind where he had his son and he had the headphones over his son so it won't affect his ears. I was like, wow, that was a classic. That was really nice. And I mean, just him just being precision. I mean, when you think about him, I mean, it's hard for me not to think about Sean Payton. Just those two together, man, like perfect match made in heaven. Those guys getting it done. And
Yeah.
just him going by his business, getting it done. And then the last thing we talked about him, before the game's doing his thing. So those are the things that I think about when I think about Drew Brees.
Sadly, MB, Drew, unfortunately, I mean,
The butcher,
unfortunately,
you about to get
you're
him.
somebody who doesn't understand their privilege, in the words of Malcolm Jenkins. And I'm sorry. Here's what happens in life. MB, what were you doing when 9/11 happened?
Shoot, just came back from a loss from Denver in the bed,
Right,
and
right,
and I got woke up by my wife saying
right.
to what was going on.
Absolutely. Uh, what will you remember from this from George Floyd's death? America allegedly waking up. But Drew was still one of them sleepy ones, MB. And this is gonna be a time that you coin in your memories when we sitting there super old telling stories to our great grands, MB. When you think of George Floyd and they ask you a question, who are the guys that came, to support? Because you were one of the guys who said it's the white guys in the locker room that need to speak up. That was you saying that. I didn't even, you coined that. You felt like that was driving, and he was one of those guys that he spoke up and spoke his mind.
Get him, Butcher. I don't know what to say. So that's what you think about with him right now? Yeah, even though he came back and apologized and try to manage, but like
Hey,
you
MB,
say,
you know how I feel
I
about
know
that.
how you feel.
Hey, the guy. Speaking of which, the guy Norman who spoke negatively about the girls basketball team and called them, you know, F and M words, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, get what he said. He's a diabetic and say his blood sugar was running low.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
bless his heart.
Yes, sir. You see what I'm talking about, MB? I don't buy that stuff, man. Yo, boy, he apologized. This is what happens. I've done it in the past, said crazy stuff when my sugar low, baby.
That I ain't never hear that one. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, he said the sugar was too low, baby. So, listen, that insensitivity training class, he took it. He spoke with Malcolm Jenkins, I'm sure, and I guess he passed the test for everybody. I'm sorry, MB, I ain't on that. I I I, I, I like it raw, pure, uncut. I want you to speak your mind and stand behind it and tell your real side, man. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me why you really feel like that.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to look at his comments and see. So what is there anything about his let me say this.
What you mean?
What
The first
no
one,
listen. No
you
listen.
focus on the second one, right? You're
No, I'm trying to
focused on the
find.
apology.
Huh?
You're
I'm
focused
looking
on the
for it.
apology, correct?
No, I'm looking for the original, you know?
Oh, okay. I I got that for you.
Oh, get it for me. Tell me how to make. I feel like Doctor Phil. Tell me how it make you feel. Break it down for me, K. Lou.
Wait, let's see. Uh, I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country. Let me just tell you what I see or what I feel when the national anthem is played and when I look at the flag of the United States. I envision my two grandfathers, there they go, who fought for this country, there they go, only his, not mine, during World War II, one in the Army and one in the Marine, both risking their lives to protect our country and to try to make our country and this world a better place. So every time I stand with my hand over my heart, looking at the flag and singing the national anthem, that's what I think about. And in many cases, that brings me to tears, thinking about all that has been sacrificed, not just those in the military, but for that matter, those that throughout the civil rights movement of the 60s and all that has endured by so many people up until this point. And is everything right with our country right now? No, it's not. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to read a little bit about what Malcolm said that's going to counter uh, that there, MB. Malcolm said, Jenkins said, uh, okay, I want to get to the, okay, and here we are with the world on fire, and you continue to first criticize how peacefully we protest because it doesn't fit with what you do and your beliefs without ever acknowledging the fact that a man was murdered at the hands of murdered at the hands of the police in front of us all, and it has been continuing for centuries. That the same brothers that you break the huddle down with every single game, the same guys that you bleed with and go to battle with every single day, go home to communities that have been decimated. Drew, oh man, I must have skipped that part that I really wanted to read. MB, here it is. Um, uh, to think that because your grandfather served this country and you have a great respect for your flag, that everyone else should have the same ideals and thoughts that you do is ridiculous. And it shows that you don't know history. Because when our grandfathers fought for this country and served and they came back, they didn't come back to a hero's welcome. They came back and got attacked for wearing their uniforms. And MB, that is so true.
Right.
I mean, beaten.
Right.
Lynched.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, yeah, right. And so when let me ask you, you know, I'm always asking you this. So when he came back,
you give your opinion because everybody know where I stand.
No, I'm saying when he came back with his apology, right? He said, in speaking with some of you, it breaks my heart to know the pain I've caused, he wrote, in an attempt to talk about respect, unity, and solidarity centered around the American flag and the national anthem. I made comments that was insensitive and completely missed the mark.
Do you understand? I wonder, do people understand what the civil rights movement was really about? It was about holding America, this country, to those ideals that he's speaking of.
Right.
So it's what Malcolm said. He has no idea about his history. For real, for real.
Right,
he has this make-believe thought of what's going on, you know, in this country. But that's all the civil rights movement was about. Was if you say this is what you are in black and white and in that Declaration of Independence, then let's be held accountable. But they weren't. So much so that we had to put into law to make that a reality. So what are you talking about? And it's still, if you go to the South and a bunch of places in the North, they worked around that too. Like, so even after it became law. So, you know, again, LB, I don't think I need to be asked. You need to ask yourself them questions. It's very
I'm asking. No, I'm asking that once he said. So he said he didn't. Well, based on what he said,
hurt Malcolm Jenkins' feelings, and he said this is what he hit with. And husbands, we all know what this say. Honey, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. What that get you for them, LB? 0. Okay, that's exactly what he getting from me.
0. He getting 0. You got no love for him. Get him, Caleb.
No. Again, this is all.
No, I got you, man.
You explain how you feel about the situation, because I'm telling you exactly why. It's not a made up thought in my mind. I'm giving you what's behind it and what he's saying versus what reality is. And then you stuck your foot in your mouth with Malcolm Jenkins made him stick his foot in the mouth with the same stuff you just said. And all your response is, I'm sorry it hurt your feelings. But that doesn't change who you are and what you're about and how you feel about this. You feel exactly the same way. You just sorry you spoke it out because it hurt people that you cared about. The truth is the truth, though, MB, and I just want everybody to speak their truth. That's it. Listen, he's wrong, but it's his truth.
Yeah, wow. I got you.
I'm the wrong guy, MB.
No. I'm just. I guess with me, I understand it's no justifying what he said. I'm just saying that you know what? It's how do you know if somebody's really sincerely apologizing or not? You know, like the Bible talk about godly sorrows lead to repentance, not like, ooh, I got caught. No, listen. No, hear me out. Just hear me out. So for me, I'm always looking at that preference. Like, is this true repentance, or you just upset that you got caught or you got busted? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it true repentance, or is just like, oh, oh my God, you know, like
Right.
which one is it?
The
You know what I'm saying?
backlash.
Huh?
The backlash. And the
Yeah,
people.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, and a majority of it is the backlash. I guess for me, in the sense of genuine repentance, I guess you would never know. You know, it's only between you and God, I guess.
Well, no, that's not. Here's the truth. Obviously, I will never know exactly what you just said, but at the end of the day, until you really are educated and understand what it is you said, like I said,
Right.
use that husband and wife. Until you really understand what you did, either way, is when you actually really like you're sorry. You're sorry that you hurt them, but until you really understand how you hurt them is when really, to me, that true repentance comes into play because you
Right. So,
understand what actions that
right.
caused it, and because you were educated. He's saying he's sorry and still don't know why. Like that grandfather thing, they always hang their hat on that. And I tried to tell you, there's not been a war fought in this country that our grandfathers ain't been a part of. So what are you saying?
Right. No,
But
I
it's
mean,
because of
I
that
mean, I
lack
know
of
that
knowledge.
fact. You got to say that. I know that. Go ahead.
But I'm saying it's because of that lack of knowledge where I'm telling you, just like I told you about the little kid in Cam Newton, because you don't even know that generation so twisted right now, they don't even understand what disrespect is. I went
Well,
and I went and trained some kids, MB,
right.
and two parents was in there. And when the workout was getting hard, they went to cussing. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, I'm here one adult, two parents here, three adults, and really, like, I'm just so. But it's like it was day parent in the room, so I'm like, well, dang, I guess this how y'all get out. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you see what I'm saying? MB. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so if I had jumped all in them, they'd have been blown away. They would apologize and went home cussing about me to their daddy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, listen, you don't know until you really know.
Right. Right. And that and yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So,
You know.
so live your truth until you get some education, man. And it is not Malcolm Jenkins' job to educate him. He need to get educated himself. Chase those statements. See, really look into the American flag and what's all around it. Instead of this make believe Snow White story. Like that's what seems like uh he's gotten his entire life. The Snow White and the Seven Dwarf story. That truly, and if that was the case, then why did the NFL, the NBA, especially the WNBA, completely flip and turn inside out when the George Floyd killing happened? Why did that happen? Like it's like again, MB, he wanted the woke ones. That's what happened. He wanted the woke ones.
Who? What? Here you go. Oh, Drew, one of the woke ones.
Yeah,
Well, obviously, by his comments, he wasn't woke. You know, but
man.
because you be some people can't get woke though. That's what I'm saying. I agree with your small percentage,
There
but
it
some
is. I'm
some
getting you
people
over there a little bit at a time. I'm getting you
no,
over.
no, get me over where too? Because if you get me over to where you at, I feel like you said, man, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's what I'm hearing.
You can't unless they get educated about
That's what I'm saying, and that's the thing
what
with
really happens. Open your eyes, and then you got a decision to make. And I trust most people will make the right decision and choices given the real information. But if you sit down and have conversations with guys like Drew Brees, what you'll find is everything you telling them is the first time they've ever heard. And it's
Right.
sad to me. It's sad. Like, how have you lived in this country your whole life? And that's what tells you there's a Blue Lives Matter and a Black Lives Matter. That's why I talked about the story of Johnny Damon. It's because of that. Man, Blue Lives Matter. Like, we with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because Drew, it's two Americas, homeboy.
But that's the thing, though, Lou, and I agree with you. But it's the Malcolm Jenkins of the world that got to educate or talk to your friends or let them know. It's when you go and you try to do it on your own, huh? You say what?
Cuzzo Alexis, what's going on, Cuzzo?
Yeah. When you do it yourself, sometimes you cloud it, or you get to read what you want to read or see what you want to see. It's this guy that I came across on Facebook. I forgot his name. I pulled him up. I wanted to share with you. You probably know this dude, but he was a black guy that met with the KKK, and God used him leaders of KKK, right. Just like you said, educate them, sit down, find out their why, right. And having conversation to educate them. And they was just woke to the fact where they renounced the KKK and gave up their stuff. And this dude became like one of their best friends. And I think directly he kind of led like 20 to 40 people, a high level KKK out, and then indirectly over 200-300. Those are things that I'm talking about when you educating somebody woke, that small percentage of people. That's what I'm making reference to,
Right. And I believe, and watch this, I believe that can happen, MB. And I believe all of them turned from their evil ways, and now they living a much better life. But they got educated.
Exactly.
So but see, each and every one of them would have did the same thing had they been put on blast. Oh no, I'm sorry, I ain't mean that. And they mean every bit of it. That's what I'm telling you. The education, once that came, then the repentance started. So that's what needs to happen, the education. So
that business, man, you gotta.
I don't believe it till that happen.
Till you get that education,
right? That's all I keep saying. You thinking that I'm thinking that it'll never happen. I'm saying it won't until.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hear you now, baby.
Mm-hmm. Lex say a lot of them are too comfortable to even want to seek education, and that's real too.
Yeah, that is real.
That's real. Well, MB, we can get your popcorn ready, baby. You know what time? Oh, actually, you throw it in there. Hey, there's free agency happening right now, y'all. And these 32 teams are super busy. Some of the deals already been done. Bunch of them, a couple of them quarterback deals felt like it was like second week of February, MB, when you start talking about the quarterback carousel.
Yeah. Yeah, and then now we got to figure out who's going to replace Drew Brees at the Saints,
Absolutely.
Colin Kaepernick, what you think?
Yeah. Well, LB, I still be letting them know at them games I be going to. I'm kneeling.
I just had to mess with you.
Hey, no, so man, listen, I really, obviously we know where they're going. They signed the guy last year, and then you just told me today. Tyson Hill, or is it Taysom?
Taysom Hill, yeah.
Taysom Hill, and reworked his deal to give the team some cap space. I think they've already declared who's their guy. I really wish they would have let Jameis Winston actually, after a year sitting under Drew Brees, sitting in meetings with him, being able to get tutored by Sean Payton, I'm sure a little bit here and there in practice. I would have liked him to get a chance to compete for that job, but it doesn't really look like it's going to go that way. However, I don't know if I haven't seen anybody sign him yet, MB.
You see, but they're not. Even though they reworked the man deal, reworked it for us to create some extra cap space. They added like It's some phantom things like voidable years on it. They just try to do that for us to, because they're one of the worst teams over the cap. They got to make it happen. They had to cut a lot of people, but they haven't officially came out and said, okay, he's the guy. I mean, they still trying to sign Jameson back, trying to get him, and they're still saying it's going to be a competition. But it's kind of hard because the deal they did today with Tyson, they gave him like $9 million signing bonus and stuff like that. So usually, man, you put your money where your mouth is, But for me, so it's kind of hard because when you look at Jameson and you think like he was there last year, came there with that same thought in mind that, man, I'll come learn from Sean Payton, learn the system, and I'll be that guy. But then when Drew went down, surprisingly, he wasn't that guy. He wasn't the guy that next man up. It was Hill. Right. Hill was 3 for 1 and whatnot. But then Sean later said late in the season that he believed that he's got whenever Drew do retire, he's got his quarterback in the building. So, but he didn't say which one, So, so James, I'm thinking. I mean, you know what? I mean, it's a tough situation. But if I'm looking at last year, and if he get a better opportunity out there somewhere else, then yeah, I think he's probably going to end up going somewhere else. But just because he's like, man, I came last year and I didn't get an opportunity, So I don't know. I don't know what you could tell him now that's going to change the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, big Buffalo did some home cooking, baby. They kept some guys at home. Got Matt Milano, man, agreed to a 4-year, $41 million contract. Congratulations, Matt. MB, I got a chance to work with him on a 7-on-7 team for a short period.
Wait, from Orlando?
Yeah, he's from.
You said from Johnny Phillips. Yeah,
and he was actually a safety in high school.
Wow.
And played safety. Was recruited as a safety at Boston College. Went there and they moved him down, and he was an undersized backer and fell right in during the right time because guess what? They started needing back third down nickel backers. Ended up being, real every down backers now. So he fell in during the right time, had a great career at Boston College, man, and has turned that into a ton of success in the NFL. And they capped that off with a 4-year, $41 million deal, MB.
Yeah, and he had dealt with some injuries this year, so it's good to see him get paid, baby.
Right.
Pay the man. I one dude I'm glad that got paid, man. I was like, ooh, they can't let him go. Is Shaq Barrett, man, from Tampa Bay.
Right.
I was happy to see that deal get done just because he got franchised last year, and then coming off the Super Bowl win this year. And they made a decision to flag franchise Goodwin instead of him. I was like, man, he's out because you talking about edge rushers, whatnot, man. People gonna come get him. But man, I don't know if he gave him a hometown discount. It was but a 4-year, $72 million. But hey, edge rusher, man. But man, Tampa, man, they did a great job of getting him back and Levante David and whatnot, getting their key guys back. I mean, they got some secondary guys they got to get back. Plug in like Domino Sue, and they got to get Fournette, But man, just the fact of them getting that back, that defensive presence back. I mean, because him and John Paul Pierre, man, they was all in the backfield, and for them to repeat, they need that defense.
Absolutely, man. Moving even, and that's keeping with that defense, that mindset and attitude, MB. New England back, man, and they back where they man.
You say they back?
No, back to what they known for, spending a whole lot of not spending they never really spend a whole lot of money, but they spend money on defense. They re-signed Cam Newton, but that was a real small deal. I think MB talked about that before. Very similar to last year's deal. He'll make definitely $5 million. Has a chance to make 13. They also signed big time tight end, but guess what? Bill Belichick loved tight ends. When MB, remember we used to play them? Yeah. They come out during them. It'll be what 13 personnel and run every formation getting on to football
Yeah,
out of 13.
yeah, yeah.
So he'll spend money on tight ends. So this 4-year, $50 million deal really ain't that big of a deal when you know how much Bill Belichick covets that tight end position. He signed an old lineman. Acquired an old lineman in
Great.
trade. But here
Yeah.
we go, MB. Next 5 guys: D end, D tackle, linebacker, quarterback, safety. And that's why I say they back, MB. They back to doing what they do, spending money on defense and letting the chips fall where they may on offense.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they do a good job of filling those gaps, though. You're right. You know, no doubt. And then with the guys that's coming back from the opted out of COVID, especially on the defense side,
Right.
we get all Hightower to that mix. That should be good. You know.
Right. And man, you would think that Pittsburgh would be making tons of moves, MB. I'm very, very, very disappointed. Right now, they've signed 3 guys, MB.
But the cap stuff though, and they had to redo. The biggest decision they had to make was with Big Ben. They redid his deal to free up some cap space. You know.
Right.
But I mean, the cap. What moves you thought they should have made? Anyone particular?
You know, you got to think about it. Obviously, this year, you know, they're undefeated for a greater part of the season.
Right.
Pac Jam was one of those people that said he never believed it. And
No
if you
doubt,
go back,
he called it out.
And if you go back during those games and just, you know, for sake of going through each and every one, if you look at the scores, a lot of them was toss-ups, MB. And we know, you know, I hate to do this to you, MB. You know, I don't mean nothing by it. But what I'm reminded of is Mark Richt when he came back to Miami and won all beater style. I think it was like 3 games where it came down to the last possession or even the last play type deal with Miami, and it was the points was like either way, but you ended up, I think, only losing maybe 3 games that year, and then the next year the bottom fell out. So that's what I'm saying. It's
to put Miami in this, man.
But it always scares me when a team is winning but barely winning, and somehow you're considering them dominant. I always wait for the next year. So I feel like they're comfortable. I don't think they should have been. It should have been many more moves made. And I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they comfortable, but you're right. Actions speak louder than words. I'm just curious as far as who they need to get out there. I mean, who they need to go after to make an upgrade, you know? Because, I mean, anytime they lost the way they did to the Browns, you know, I mean, they can't be comfortable on anything, you know?
Right. Speaking of a lot of moves, boy, Houston trying to rebuild the entire team, baby. They sure need to, because they're going to be losing the centerpiece in a half a second here. I know it's still ownership basically done stuck they feet in the sand and said, look, hey, you play here, man. And MB, I think he gonna sit down.
You think so? I was just about to ask you.
Yeah, I think he gonna sit down. But
yeah, I was just about to ask you. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he gonna sit down for the entire year if he have to make a point. And I think he should. I mean, Le'Veon done laid the groundwork, and Le'Veon got his money after sitting down and relaxing for a year, MB. Le'Veon did it. I mean, it ain't really work out for him. However, I still feel like he's talented. He just needs to get in that right system, and he'll be fine. Indianapolis, MB, only move they felt like they needed was a quarterback, and they may be correct. Do you think that guy's Carson Wentz, though?
That's a good question. I could see why they took the chance on him, just because of Frank Wright. You know, their relationship, getting it done. Is he the guy though? Man, that's yet to be seen. You know, trying to think like who's around. They got a good defense, got a good running game coming on, O-line, good protection. I think is definitely a good start. I think if that's probably the best situation to resurrect his career is probably with the Indianapolis Colts. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so do I think that he can get it done? You know what? I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say he's gonna get it done because they're not gonna need him uh, to carry that team.
Right. Well, Jacksonville didn't do what I thought they should have did, MB, and I don't even care who they had already there. It should have said O line, O line, O line, O line. If they think if they want Trevor Lawrence to come in and really take their team to the next level, they spent a little bit of change on Tyler Shatley, which was offensive guard. Cam Robinson franchised him, so that means they really feel like he's a mainstay and want to keep him there for trouble. But I would have wanted to see some more O line moves and some wide receiver moves. MB, they
What?
did agree.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They agreed a 3-year deal with James Agnew, but listen, y'all about to put this thing in a rookie hands. Good luck with that, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And they got more cap space than anybody. But you got to keep in mind it just started too. So maybe they got something on the back burner coming in. And then when you look at what guys are available as far as receivers, you bring a good point. The main guy, man, from Chicago got franchised, you know?
Right.
So that was the big, because one thing I wanted to see, and we talked about this before, I wanted to see what the Baltimore Ravens going to do as far as getting Lamar Jackson some legit help, you know?
And what happened there? I'm trying.
No, I'm just saying it's the receivers. That's the thing. Like when you talk about is the main receivers, two of them got franchised. Goodwin from Tampa, and then Robinson from Chicago. So that limited the pool. So I was curious to see. The guy from Detroit is still out there. He's coming from an injury and whatnot. But I was just curious to see what was going to happen, you know?
Well, they got an offensive lineman, which I'm sure Lamar is excited about. Agreed to a 3-year deal, $22 million, and then a defensive tackle re-signed. They ain't gonna help Lamar all that much, like you said.
Yeah.
Wide receiver is a must for them. However, MB, and I'm old fashioned. I'm old in this thing. I thought all the moves were already the biggest splashes were made first day, traditionally during free agency. So the fact that I don't know, what are we waiting on?
Well, you got some. When you say the big moves are already made, is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, like what we're reading now was traditionally the first day guys were the guys who were highly coveted. And, obviously the deals had been made even
Right.
prior to this. This was just signing the deal. But I'm just saying, like, if they haven't made a push and made moves on a wide receiver, then it's going to be second tier, third tier guys in the draft that they're depending on. MB is, when it's all said and done, if they didn't make a move already.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying. It just started, and deals are still coming in.
Okay.
So just keep hope alive, I guess. You know what I'm saying? To see what happens. You know,
Okay.
because there's still some big name free agent guys that have not made a decision of where they're going. So it's trickling. It's coming in right now as far as the list and who's signing where. You know.
Right.
There's still hope. That's what I'm saying. So.
Okay. Well,
Go ahead.
Well, guess what, guys? March Madness done came here. Get your popcorn ready, MB. We just gonna talk about them number one seeds and just the excitement of who made number one. Not even get into the fact that Gonzaga and Baylor done basically beat up everybody all year. Gonzaga is in Dion, Coach Prime terms. They are an O. And so they the super number one seed, the overall number one seed, and then you got Baylor MB 22-2, and down at the bottom, the Fab Five in the building once again. Jawan Howard, Michigan Wolverines, baby. got a number one seed, and so did another Big Ten, Michigan foe, the Fighting Illini, MB.
Right. Yeah, and the thing about it, the Big Ten, man, represented, they had just like you read, they had two number ones, right, with Illinois
Right,
and Michigan, and then they had two number two seeds, right, that's
right,
getting it done. So that with Ohio State, and I think the other one was Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a great representation from the Big Ten, man, getting it done. You know.
right. Well, Pac Jam and MB gonna get to y'all probably. I see if old Chucky won't come on too and be talk about a little March Madness. He actually was on social media talking about it. Obviously, traditionally, March Madness, believe it or not, MB is a guard league.
Is
It's
it?
guard. Yeah, it's a guard time. I like to consider March Madness as playoffs. So it's when it's March Madness hit, when you have those guards, that's who ends up winning it for you. And Chucky was writing
Wow.
on social media about he was naming a few guards,
Okay.
smaller guards too, that he really felt like was gonna make a run or be able to really affect some outcomes of these games. But yeah, if
Right.
you chase the tournaments down, MB traditionally, then you look at them upsets, especially you're gonna see some no name guard, point guard, two guard that's killing them.
Wow.
And that's what happens. So we'll
I wonder
see.
why. I wonder why that is. Did he give a reason, Caleb?
No, he was really talking about the fact that there are some mid-major type guards that are going to make a splash in the tournament. I'm telling you that traditionally it's a guard time, and that's a great question, probably to save for him. I
Right.
don't know why. I don't know the basketball angle behind it, but I do know if you have tough guards, like for some reason the bigs don't really dominate during this time.
Hmm.
Obviously you when you have great bigs, a great
Right.
big will
Right. Right.
dominate no matter
Right.
what. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying
Yeah.
like traditionally when you got a 6'10", 6'11" guy, 6'9" guy in there, it
Right.
really doesn't matter. But you start looking at, Villanova when they won a couple times, it was led by some guards. When UConn ran the table, it was led by some guards. Um, it those are the two teams that immediately come to mind when I was thinking about guard play. But it March Madness, I mean, I don't know. Somehow it's a guard time. So yeah, that'd be a great question to ask Chucky, man.
Well, when you say that, made me think about like Kimball Walker when he was at
Right.
Connecticut.
That's
Made
who
me
did
think about also this guy. I think it was last year. This guard from, or maybe a couple years ago, the guard from Purdue, man, that was going off. Ended up getting drafted by the Boston Celtics. Little short dude,
Yeah.
man. He
Yeah.
was going off, man. You know,
Yeah.
it made me think about that when you say that. Yeah, that's definitely a good question to ask. You know.
Right. Right. Why all of a sudden the guards awaken when it's
Yeah.
time when they hit a March Madness, and even MB when March Madness, when CBS start playing it and it comes on, it's a guard shot that we see every single year. Tyus Edney running down the floor, with UCLA, and he hits
Yeah.
that big shot at the buzzer
Yeah.
that wins it for them. So
Yeah.
remember, he was the smallest dude on the court.
Right. Right. I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. So who do you have any favorite? Who's your team to win? Who's on your bracket to
Well,
win?
well, I reserved from getting involved when we spoke earlier, and said we really wasn't gonna go into detail. Gonzaga is the easy call, MB. I really haven't gotten it all the way down.
Right.
However, I look for this Final Four to not resemble anything like everybody else bracket is going to resemble. This has been the year of COVID. This has been the year of
Right.
uh, half of these teams in here probably played on television. a total of 10 times together.
Right,
And
right,
it's just, and because of that, and then the mix, MB, this is 1 year where everybody's old. You know what I mean? Normally you get, these diaper dandies that Dick Vitale would call them when you at Duke and Kentucky and North Carolina. You get all these guys, even Syracuse, Michigan, not so much recently, but in the past,
right,
you get these young guys in there that are so impactful. They're lottery picks that they dictate what's going to occur. Well, now you got a bunch of old heads. You got teams that are being led by juniors and seniors, MB, which is foreign in basketball nowadays.
right,
You don't see that anymore. But when you see that, MB, you see a lot of leadership, a lot of great plays being made, not a lot of turnovers, shot clock going down to the buzzer. You know what I mean, MB? That grimy play, that tough play, that a lot of these teams, it's gonna come down to their ability to really make the plays down the end or down the stretch, and it's going to be led by these senior led teams. And so, honestly, MB, as I look through these rosters, that's what I'm looking for.
right, right,
You
right.
pull up the starters and you count the seniors.
Wow,
And that's who I'm going with because
wow.
it's not a whole lot of talent in this tournament. And
Yeah,
when it's all said and done, I don't. Heck, MB, you start talking about the draft, and I know we moving way ahead. And you got one guy they've been talking about all year, the guy from Oklahoma State.
yeah.
That's it.
That's a freshman though. He's the
Right,
freshman, direct.
right.
And then the
But
second guy is Mobley from USC. He's another freshman. I think he's a top. He's the second consensus to be the second pick. So
and that's
the
true.
yeah. Go ahead.
That's true. But if you start comparing them to the guys we've known last year,
Right.
the year before, this draft is almost non-existent. I know the
Exactly.
teams that traded picks away don't care about at least this year's draft. They like, shoot, they can have that first round.
Right. 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 No, you're right. It was just so much. I guess it was so many freshmen having an impact in the past, but it's not. You don't hear that as well as what you brought up in the past.
And Double A sure stated it. No Duke, no Kentucky, strange year. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, Listen, I'm going to tell you something though to watch, especially from a Coach K's Duke-led team. Watch the fact that we'll lose one guy, and he's recruiting a little bit differently now, y'all. Obviously, they're still 5 stars, but they're not the special 5 stars. Jalen Johnson was supposed to be one. He really didn't pan out, guys.
He didn't.
Really didn't look good all year. However, Coach K seems to be going back to the basics and recruiting guys that are going to be there for a while. With that, you get, like I'm telling you now, older ball club. So now these guys come in, and then all you need is to hit the lottery once with one guy, and you mix that one guy in with a bunch of 5 stars who have now had a chance to develop, and Duke will be right back in the driver's seat next year. But I think I look at this year and I say Coach K is really. I don't look for us to be getting a ton of one and doneers, and I think part of that reason, MB, is, and I could not find any of this. And I was talking to Pac Jam even earlier today, MB. I couldn't find where the NBA is talking about going back to letting high schoolers in. I was looking for this year. I was looking for next year. This has been Adam Silver's been very quiet, and so Coach K could be anticipating that the fact that he won't even be able to recruit these kids moving forward.
So you think he's intentionally not going after the one and done, Kalu, or you just think that's just how it happened?
I think knowing what's about to happen, you have to start preparing yourself for what the landscape of college basketball is gonna look like again. And I think that is the fact that these young guys are gone. And so the guys you're going to get are you're going to have to develop them. And I think he's going that route right away so that when that time happens, he's ready. He's ready to go. You like to think a guy like that would be making moves like that, but that's just my belief.
Yeah, that come from a Duke guy, man. Hey, man,
There you go.
hey, got a reason why y'all ain't make it, man. That come only
No,
Duke guy.
no. I said we stunk. We stinking it up. I mean, think about it. We did a show on this, MB. Why
Yeah,
y'all?
no,
I am
you.
not you. I do not jump on the sword. I tell it like it is. If they are terrible, they are terrible, and that's exactly what they are. They are terrible this year.
But I mean, but you come up with this conspiracy. Oh, see what happened was. See what
That's
happened
not what
was.
I said. That's
No,
not
no,
what
no,
I said.
no,
I
no,
said
no.
moving forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
I
just like
said
moving
moving
forward.
forward. Yeah, but what you got to talk about if you ain't in the show? What you talking about with Miami?
None. But I'm just saying, you talking about, well, hey
If you
guys,
ain't in the show, you talk about next year.
and then but you was like, hey, but hey, things may be changing a little bit. He's not going out the one and done. Child, please, man, he ain't turned out number collars. If he can get a Zion Williams, he get one and done. He ain't turning out number collars, man. You know.
But see, you didn't hear me. I
I
don't
heard
think they're going to be available.
because you saying based on it on the rule. The rule may be changed,
Correct. And
but we
so
haven't heard anything yet. So I'm saying
correct.
as long as that haven't been implemented yet, he ain't turned out number collars. I heard everything you said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he ain't turned out number collars.
Well, then you just throwing in. I'm trying to make it sound better because that's not what the case is. I'm just telling you my feelings of it.
Yeah.
So when they jump back on top, it's not a surprise. I'm just telling you that he's thinking ahead of the curve.
Because they going back to the lab.
I wouldn't say that. I'll just really say he never recruited those type of guys when it first got underway. If you notice, John Calipari was the head of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Then he jumped into it. And I'm just saying he's going to reverse and jump back out of it. That's it, MB. I'm not saying, that
I'm just messing with you,
it's
bro.
nothing but that. Nothing but that. Well,
that's what we're doing in Miami, too.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, we've been doing it. We're ahead of the curve, baby.
Oh, gosh. So 20-year drought. We ain't had one of those, MB.
Yeah, we're doing it. Hey, man. Somebody somebody said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is today. So that's what's going on.
Well, MB, let me tell y'all what y'all need to do if y'all want an instant.
Come on, man. Hey, no, you just stick with Duke, man, and your conspiracy theory, man. Leave Miami alone, man. Leave Miami alone, man.
And you already know where I'm going with this.
Leave Miami alone, brother.
Coach Prime, baby, with the man with the golden whistle. Coach Prime, like I told you before when we had that Prime conversation. Miami, Florida State done bumped their head. They should get rid of all them people that's head y'all programs again. And somebody better pay Coach Prime. You know he want to come home.
Coach Prime, baby.
Come home. So if Miami want to win, I'm talking about instantly back. I'm talking about Joker's transfer jumping through the portal. Like it'll be they jump in their computer screen and pop out at Miami. That's what I'm talking about. They gonna be jumping through the transfer portal for Coach Prime, baby. I'm telling you.
Prime time.
MB, what he's been able to do, and he ain't even got his guys in there yet. Man, this is a team that was terrible last year. He went in with. And his guys ain't even playing because they ineligible right now, MB. Golly, I'm telling you, man, he doing something special around there, MB. That's a whole nother conversation. But I had to say it when you threw out y'all just y'all buying y'all time.
Yeah, we're just doing like Duke, baby.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you how to jump out of that immediately. Hey, I wish he'll come to Duke. We'll take him. We'll take him. Hey, MB, we'll let him coach basketball and football, baby. Coach both of them, Brian.
Play two sports, huh? Just like he played two. Just like he played two sports, he get to coach two sports,
That's
huh?
right. He used to that. Go ahead and take over, Brian. Listen, we'll let you coach both of them, football and basketball. What you want to do? Well, I think that's a great place to end, LB. We appreciate y'all coming through, pulling up, hollering at us, because you know us, man. From sideline to baseline with MB and K. Lou. We will holler at y'all next time.
Peace.